You are watching Stripped Down Live, Saskatchewan's only award-winning 1-hour local music showcase, the show that brings the venue to you in the comfort of your own living room. Here we are, our second last show of our 13th season. And what an incredible season. It's been the best season so far, and I'm not just saying that because you're all here, you're watching. Season 13 has been the best season of Stripped Down Live so far. And without further ado, let's throw it to our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight on Stripped Down Live, there's energy in the air. It's oh my goodness. Greg Orrē.
The clouds seemed so close to me. Today they seem so far away. Distant purple gray puff, 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 puffs pattern the horizon, and yesterday my hands could touch. Today my lips can just discuss. Yesterday, it's clear to me I was where I was meant to be. Yesterday, it's clear to me I was where I was meant to be. Yesterday, with everyone and everywhere I go, I leave a piece of me, and I take a bit just for the road. I'm on a gentle course, and yesterday, it's clear to me I was where I was meant to be. Yesterday, it's clear to me I was where I was meant to be. Yesterday, oh, pattern the horizon, the puff puffs pass. Pattern the horizon, the puff puffs pass. Puff puff pass, yeah. Puff puffs pass. Puff 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 puff. Puff puffs pass. They pattern the horizon, the puff puffs pass. Pattern the horizon, the puff puffs pass. Puff 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 pass, yeah. Puff puffs pass. Puff 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 puff. Puff 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 puff.
Thank you, thank you.
So, my first question, has Curtis had too much coffee or not enough coffee? Greg Orrē on
right,
Stripped Down
yes.
Live. See, one of my best friends is Gregor from 98 Cool. So right off the bat, I was saying,
tricky,
like,
it's
the
tricky.
best,
Yeah.
the best intro I've ever done. I'm like, I'm killing it. It's
Gregor.
going so great. And then I said Gregor instead of Gregor, which is, I mean, I probably could have got away with
close,
it.
yeah.
But I know Greg Orrē
Gregory is it.
is it.
Is it, yeah.
And it's a fun play on, what would you even call that? Just a different way of spelling your name?
Yeah, it's just like, it's a fun play on, my first name's Gregory, so it's a nice play on Gregory, and I never liked being called Gregory as a kid, so I would tell, and like teenager, I'd say, call me Greg, but then this music's a lot about like going back to my youth and stuff, so now I go by Gregory, and I think it's kind of funny
But it's hyphen.
that it's like Greg Orrē.
O-R-R-E with like, what is that, an umlaut or whatever?
Yes.
Like,
Some
accent?
people think it's like Orré's my last name,
Well,
or some people just like
I was
ignore the
prepping
E.
for the
and-
show,
yeah.
and I was like, so Greg Orr, and producer Dean was like, I think it's Greg Orrē.
Yeah.
But little did I know he has actually like made television with you, so he knew that.
Yes,
It's not
yes.
like he was like.
Yeah.
It's not like he figured that out. You guys have you guys have a past. He did a little like mini doc about your downtown art.
Oh yes, that's
Right?
right. I kind of forgot. That was in the
Yeah.
pandemic. I forgot about that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're an artist in basically every sense of the word.
Yeah.
But let's narrow it down. I'm
Sure.
all over the place. You were here speaking of the pandemic with
Yeah.
Too Soon Monsoon,
Yes.
2019, right before it hit the fan.
Yeah. Like,
Guys,
crazy. 5 years
incredible
ago.
momentum
Yeah.
for that band.
Uh-huh.
So what happened when like March 2020 came? How did
Yeah.
Too Soon Monsoon navigate those
those
choppy
years?
waters?
When March 2020 came, we were supposed to play Juno Fest.
Yeah.
That like the day it was like announced as a global pandemic, so that was like so crappy. We were
I
like
was
so
supposed to-
pumped and
I
so
was supposed
excited.
to shoot
and-
that. I would have
Yeah.
been one of the camera
Oh
people.
dang, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so it was like a bit of an adjustment, but then I don't know, it was like, such a weird time. Nobody really knew what was going on, so we just kind of kept rolling as we could, getting together to rehearse every now and again, and we ended up like recording an album later in 2020 that never got put out. So it's still involved. We put out a few songs from it, and maybe someday it'll see the light of day. But yeah, we brought like Steve Adams was playing with us at the time too, so we had like a different player in the group as well. So yeah, it was an interesting time, getting together when we could, when we were allowed to, and then yeah, making the most of like those moments too when we were able to get together and write and record.
It's a bit of a hiatus now then while you focus on the solo stuff, or are you just juggling it all?
No, we broke up a couple years
I
ago.
didn't even know that. Oh, well,
Yeah.
let's get that out of the way. I had no idea.
No,
Okay.
we disbanded in 2021, and yeah, it was just, and that was like, I feel a bit of like a result of pandemic, just like communication breakdown, not seeing
Well,
each other
and
on
just-
different pages, and then just yeah, it was not great.
It's too
but
much time to think. Everyone was in their own heads,
Yeah.
right? Like for real.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was in lockdown with a 2-3-year-old. Yeah, you know, a lot of self-reflection.
Totally.
It was loud in the house.
Yeah, but Nate and I, we've been chatting again lately, so we'll see. Who knows what
All
the
right.
future holds? Yeah.
We're going to be talking a lot about the album release party. That's kind of the big.
Yes.
You asked to come on the show specifically now because what are we looking at? A couple weeks from now?
Next week, next
Next week, the
Thursday,
20th?
the 20th of June. Yeah, it's coming up so soon. The same day
Alright.
the album comes out that day, and then a show at the Capitol that night.
All right. What
Yeah.
are people going to get at the Capitol that night?
It's gonna be a full band show. So I played with Kyle Kreisa on drums. He's on the full album, and Emmett Furtowski plays bass on pretty much the whole thing as well. So both of them will be joining me for that show. So it'll be really awesome. A lot of like big energy. The album sounds like, I love the sound of it. It's big sound, lots going on. So we're gonna be playing a lot of songs from that record, a few from like the first volume 1, maybe a couple Too Soon songs. So I'll be playing, and then Saul the Singer's doing an opening set.
Nice.
He's really great. He'll
Yeah.
be playing. He plays with those guys as well. Graham Tilsley will be playing with me, and Saul too. So it's gonna be cool. And then yeah.
many. It's like a who's who
Yeah.
of Saskatoon musicians. And
Yeah.
we'll slowly go through it all over the next 55 minutes. But
Yeah.
we kicked off the show with what?
that was a song called Yesterday. That was on I'm In It Volume 1. So I put that record out in August 2020. And
Ooh, right in the
that
thick of
song,
it, hey?
right in the thick of it,
Crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I self-recorded the majority of that record on like a Tascam 8-track mixer. So it was really cool. I like could record like 1 or 2 tracks at a time and do all the mixing.
You had the time.
Had the time to just really lay into self-recording, and Josh mixed a couple of those tracks he mixed yesterday. But that song, I really like starting sets or shows, things like this with yesterday, because it really puts me into a nice place of like everything from yesterday got me to today. So it's like constant self-reflection.
So sorry, you produced it in 2020?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
when
recorded.
did you write it?
This whole like I'm In It project, I kind of wrote the majority of it 2018 to
Okay.
2020. So
So
then I kinda picked-
pre-pandemic and then putting it together during pandemic.
Yeah.
Quite the journey.
It's been interesting. I had like this really big idea of like, because I had like 3 albums of music and being like, I'm gonna pump these out like year after year and just get it all through. And now it's 2024 and I'm just getting the second one out. So it's all
I'm
good.
so pumped for tonight. Such good energy in here. Opening song was amazing.
Thank you.
And we're gonna promote the heck out of the album release. But I'm gonna bring the vinyl up here in a bit. I'm really
Yes,
pumped for that.
yes.
But first things first. Speaking of Kyle Kreisa, we got to
Mm-hmm.
throw it over to our social media correspondent, Douglas Evans.
Hello.
Bryn not being able to make it tonight, so I think our longest crew member, Douglas Evans.
Maybe Dylan?
Sliding into the chair. Dylan is got one foot out the door, though.
That's true. That's a good point.
He's getting sucked up by this band obligations, right? So
I'm firmly here.
Full-time crew member.
That's right.
So I was going to ask about Kyle Kreis. What do you know about Kyle Kreis? That was a question for Bryn.
Asking me?
I'm asking you. Great drummer, right?
I've seen some of his TikToks and they're fantastic. That's all. I don't know if I've actually met him in person, but I've seen him around and stuff.
Heck of a
He
drummer.
seems great, and he's a great drummer, clearly.
That was a question for Bryn, so thanks for playing along.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Great.
if you had a brother, you'd probably wish it was Kyle, right?
If I did.
His brother's behind the
Just
other camera.
throwing shade
Anyway.
on my brother tonight.
What's going on tonight, Doug?
We have a comment. We have a question.
All right, let's kick it off.
From Rochelle. Definitely have a playful vibe. In a way, reminds me of Jason Mraz.
Cool.
What is your creative process? How do you get in the zone when you are creating art or music?
That's a really good question. Thank you. My creative process. I feel like I haven't been doing as much writing lately. I haven't allowed for this, but a lot of walking. I like to walk by the river, spend just a lot of time when I can find time more to myself and looking at nature, spending time in nature, and just having that calmness, that quietness to kind of let melodies show up or certain phrases. And then I like to have a little notebook with me, so I'm jotting things down so that I can return to that whenever I'm ready to write a song, or my voice note recorder. I'll use that a lot. But I find I need to be in a rested state, a calm state, to be allowing creativity to flow. So sometimes, if I don't have that, there's not as much happening. But yeah, giving myself that space, that time to create is important to me.
Nice.
Makes sense.
Awesome. And hold up the gift card there, Douglas.
Right. You could win this $25 Earl's gift card. If you do a question, so far just Rochelle has
Rochelle's got it in the bag so far.
Nice.
So if you
25 bucks going to Rochelle so far.
Exactly.
The night is young, though. Before we get to song number 2 and take our first commercial break, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors. Of course, our main sponsor, the number one sponsor, Earl's Saskatoon. They're about to announce some dates of summer patio parties, so stay tuned for that. Then, of course, Vern's Pizza, Hairstyle Inn. Not cutting my hair these days. See, when you were here in 2019, I still had hair.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a buzz cut, but I'm not quite.
And then,
not quite at
as
the
I
full
mentioned, then
shave
suddenly
yet.
there was a pandemic with a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
and there went my hair. And our good friends at E West Music. Those are the people that support the show, so please go out and support them when you can. Song number 2, where are we headed?
Song number 2 is Western Sun. It's the opening track on the new album. It's about Saskatoon. There's lots of references to things like Circle Drive. I wrote it. I used to live in an apartment that overlooked Circle Drive and Stonebridge, and we only got sun on the last half of the day, so it was that hot western sun. So it's a song about feeling that hot sun while I was sitting in my living room. It's a song about the sun. I love the sun.
Take it away,
Yeah.
Greg Orrē.
Well, I stay awake for 74 hours. I can't sleep. Away these days, I've only so many. Yeah, 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 yeah. Western sun lean into me. Heat so hot, hit so hard, heat just like yesterday. Current traffic hums highway and see similarities. Surf Circle Drive, surf Circle Drive, surf Circle Drive, surf Circle Drive on a alley in the cool, cool blue. Surrounded by living things, surrounded by living things, surrounded by living heaven things, surrounded by western sun. Lean into me, lean into me. Show me your strength in my sun-kissed skin, western sun. Lean into me, lean into me. Show me your strength in my sun-kissed skin, western sun. Lean into me, lean into me. Show me your strength in my sun-kissed skin, western sun. Lean into me, lean into me. Show me your strength in my sun-kissed skin, western sun. Yeah. Western sun. Ooh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Orrē.
I feel sexy, I feel ugly. I feel better when you love me, middle child. Middle child. Center of attention, only paid attention to if interesting, the middle child. Middle child. I've got middle child symptoms, middle child syndrome. I feel full, I feel empty, I feel success, I feel envy, middle child symptoms, middle child. I must be center of attention. I'll only pay attention to you if I'm interested in you. I'm the middle child, middle child. I've got middle child symptoms, middle child. I've got middle child symptoms, middle child, middle child, middle child, middle child syndrome.
You are watching Stripped Down Live. We're spending 60 minutes with Greg Orrē, and here it is, the big reveal. I'm so into this.
Yeah.
And I am into it. Volume 2.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind when you see that? Like, that's...
I love it. I'm
I
really,
see
really
pride.
proud. Yeah,
I see, like,
yeah.
for real.
I'm really proud of the album. I love the artwork Kristen, my wife, did. So it started as a really tiny Polaroid photo at the Sound Castle, and then we blew that up, and then she did collage work all over it. So there's like lots of cool like collage flowers and images and markers and painting and stuff on it, and then a photograph of that. So it's like it was quite the process for her to make it. Yeah, I really love how it turned out.
She's not just on it, she's in it as well, right?
She's in it as
so
well,
many
yes.
collabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see the monitor. Is there too much glare, not enough glare? Okay, awesome. The voice in my head says it's good. I guess it looked like white, the first, just a glare.
Oh, I see.
Not doing it justice.
No.
There we go.
That's okay. Yeah. So yeah, I really like the shadows of the flowers. It's got like a nice 3D alive feeling to it.
So your wife also artistic?
She is. Yeah. She's done like lots of photos for myself and our band, like Too Soon Monsoon back in the day. Music videos, she's filmed a lot of those. Filmed like the majority of the ones I'm making right now. Like I'll edit them and she does the filming, so we work a lot together, which is really, really cool.
That's awesome.
And she paints, she sings a bit as well, so she's on little bits of the record.
Bits of the record. Here it is in CD form. Now this is going down at the Capitol June 20th album release party, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be kind of what you hear tonight, only full band.
Yeah, just like nice and full. Yeah, if you've heard if you listen to any of the tracks on streaming, you'll have that that type of vibe, but nice and full, nice and alive. Yeah.
Crazy. So I mean, shout out, help for the album. so many names on here.
Yeah. Creative Sask was like a big part of helping make it possible. But Kyle Kreisa on drums, Evan Frotowski on bass, Josh Palmer plays, like he produced it, mixed, mastered the record. He shows up like in the background of Western Sun, that song I just played not too long ago. He's got some background vocals. He sneaks some guitar in every now and again on the record. Danica Loren, opera singer on a few tracks as well. Kristen's on there singing a bit. Sonny, my son's on there too. So it's really, it's cool.
What's Sonny doing?
He's got a little like sound at the end of the album. We found like a voice note of him when he was pretty young, so it's like a cute ending to the album. Yeah.
All right. My notes are all over the place again. I've just been drinking coffee all day and just doing chicken scratch. So, tracked over 4 days in May, the drums, piano, and bass.
Yeah, out at the Sound Castle. So that was May 2022. So Emmett came over to the house once, and we ran through just the songs, showed him the songs, and Kyle, who never rehearsed before, because it was like pandemic vibes, so it was kind of like I sent them rough ideas, and I think Josh had maybe chatted with them a little bit too. And then Kyle came out for the first day and tracked 8 songs in like I think it was 9 songs in like 2 days. It was crazy.
Yeah, one take.
Yeah, and then Emmett came out in an evening and got basically all of his upright bass and electric bass recorded in like 4 hours. It was wild. And then I was tracking keys with them at that time. So we did, 3 days. I did a bit, some just like extra solo stuff on the 4th day, but that was really fast. Like recorded really quickly, and I was like, oh sweet, the record's gonna like be out soon. And then, no, it took a while after.
But like Palmer, Kreisa, Frotowski, how do you, like, what's the social circle there? How do you get to work with these incredible musicians?
I know, you're so lucky. They're like so amazing.
Right?
And like this album specifically, this like batch of songs, when I had like the 30 some songs, like thinking of what's going to go on number 1, volume 2, volume 3, I was saving like these ones for like I was like patient on this album. I wanted to make sure I had the right players on it and had like some funding to make it sound the way I was kind of hearing it in my head. And I had like obviously seen them play around with other acts and knew like they're just so talented.
Them?
So I approached them, and and like Josh had, I think, a bit of connection obviously with Kyle too. So like he's done some stuff with Kyle.
Has he?
So
See, I'm trying to think of these musicians as
feel
like
like
Venn
they-
diagrams. I'm like, has Kyle and Josh ever overlapped? They must have.
They must have. I feel
There's
like
Rebellion, and then like Kyle's never really officially been in a band. Hey? He's just kind of been for hire, so that makes sense. And then Frotowski was in like that ska band as a teenager, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's played like with Alan Fraze a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen him play. Like I really like his bass work.
So it's
with
almost like a
Alan.
super group.
Yeah, and Saul, the singer, who's at the show, he's recorded pretty much with the same band. So it's they're great. Yeah.
All right. The voice in my ear is saying we got a sweet comment, so I'm going to throw it back over to social media correspondent Douglas Evans. Doug, what popped up?
We have more activity to report.
All right.
Gregor says, I'm Gregor. Do we have a problem here? LOL.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, Greg Orrē
I love it.
is his name. And after just like
Greg Orrē.
killing the greatest intro I've ever done on the show, I introduced the guest as Gregor. So it's not Gregor from 98 Cool. It's Greg Orrē. But hey, thanks for tuning in, Gregor. That was awesome. Maybe you'll be on the... Actually, the first time I ever met Gregor was at Canadian Idol, Media Idol.
Oh.
And he was dressed like Axl Rose, singing like Axl Rose. And I was like, this guy's cool. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we ever can afford the rights to the Guns N' Roses library, we can have Gregor on as a cover
Yes,
band.
that'd
But
be
yes,
cool.
Gregor watching from home, not Gregory, who's on the stage. Thanks for writing in. All right.
Sweet.
Sweet. Okay.
I love it.
The song Back from Commercial Break.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was
before we go
Middle
to the next
Child.
one? Middle Child.
Yeah, that's like a tongue-in-cheek song about being a middle child, and the I'm In It project. There's lots of like reflection on like maybe self-beliefs or opinions I had about myself or things you kind of stick to. So like sometimes I am a middle child, so then it's like you act a certain way because you're a middle child, but are you acting that way because people tell you those are things that are associated with being a middle child or not? So kind of it's a fun tongue-in-cheek song about being a middle child.
See, I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
And now I'm the youngest of 2.
Uh-huh.
And now that I have 2 kids, I'm like so in tune of like making sure my youngest gets the same experiences and
So they aren't like
opportunities
yeah.
as my older one, it's exhausting.
Yeah, sure.
It's like impossible. As a young, I'm sure all the youngest children
Yeah.
out there are like, oh, you know,
Firstborn gets
the
all the
firstborn always
attention.
got
Yeah.
so many more opportunities. And now that I'm in the position of trying to make sure the youngest gets the same amount of opportunities as the first one, yeah, it's exhausting. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your best. Do your best.
Right? It's the best I can do.
Yeah, and that song, that's the only one on the record where I play the guitar. So I play acoustic guitar on the record and recorded that one out at Soundcastle. So lots of these songs I did write on the guitar. I'm like taught myself how to play the guitar 2018, 2019. I was kind of sick of writing on the keyboard. I felt tapped out. So
Yeah.
most of these kind of came from the guitar. And they're
And then you
like,
put them back on the
and then
keyboard.
put them back on the keys. Yeah. Yeah. But that one I kept on
Fascinating.
the guitar. I really do like it on the guitar. But
All right, man. Before our next commercial break,
yeah.
what's this song?
This one is called I Just Want to Be a Mountain. This is a song I wrote coming back from a Too Soon Monsoon tour after we released the Waves album, so kind of around the time we were...
Great album, by the way.
Thank you, yeah. So around that time, it's a busy time, like releasing a record and booking tours and all the stuff that goes with being in a band. So we were coming back from Calgary, driving back through the Rocky Mountains and just reflecting on how I felt like the tour was done. It felt like I wasn't present or like didn't really enjoy any of that time, and then all of a sudden it was kind of done. And also the feeling of like you always want to be bigger, hitting more things or achieving more as a band. So I saw a hill that was in front of like the Rocky Mountains, and I kind of put myself in the hill and thought maybe that hill's looking at the mountains, telling the sun it wants to be a mountain instead of enjoying the hill it is. So it's written from the point of view of the hill.
Nice.
And then the end of the song, once Sunny was born, I added a really catchy refrain at the end, which I feel like I don't do justice in the solo version, but it's when I can see things so clearly now when I talk to the sun. So it's a nice nod to my son, Sunny. And I think he's watching, so hi, Sunny. Hi, Kirsten.
And that's something you're going to have to show up to the Capitol to,
Yeah,
to
to get that
fully
full vibe.
experience.
That's right.
And again, that's June 20th at the Capitol,
Yeah.
album release party. Take it away,
Yeah.
Gregory.
Yeah, and this song comes out Friday, a little early.
I wanna be a mountain. I wanna be a mountain, said the hill to the sun. I want to impress like a mountain. I want to impress like a mountain. I might be little, but I've grown stone cold veins. I've grown stone cold veins. But still the green grass clings to me. Still the green grass clings to me. I worked so hard on my mountain vision. I worked so hard, yeah. I worked so hard on my mountain vision. I did not enjoy all that I had become. I made a hill like none other. Now evergreens, they line my crown. Well, the horse looks at me in awe. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I talk to the sun. La-da-da, talk to the sun. La-da-da, talk to the sun. La-da-da, talk to the sun. Ooh, I talk to the sun. I see things so clear now. I see things are fine. I see things so clearly when I talk to the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Orrē.
Everything is everything. I've learned that with you. All of it is connected, from ocean to river blue. Salt pours out of me, adding depth to the sea, and thunder roars above me, while lightning cuts deep. We live in an awesome world. It's an awesome world, full of beauty, full of wonder. I said that it's an awesome world, such an awesome world, full of beauty, full of wonder. You know, I know, I know, you know, I know. There can be bad days, full of bad news. You know, I know, I know, you know, I know, I know, you know, I know. There can be hard times, full of hard trials, but I don't let that confuse or muddy my view. Everything is everything. I've learned that with you. All of it is connected, from ocean to river blue.
You're watching Stripped Down Live. Greg Orrē on the Stripped Down stage. We are promoting June 20th at the Capitol, the album release party for this masterpiece right here. I Am In It Volume 2.
Yeah.
Greg Orrē. It's going to be like this, only with a full band. So make sure you check that out.
Yes.
And this made me really happy. You call your sound symphonic folk? Was that?
Symphonic folk rock. And that came from Josh when we were wrapping up the album. I was like, what genre do you think this is? And there's lots of like symphony vibes.
He's like, let's make one.
Yeah, lots of symphony vibes. Emmett does lots of like kind of string, cello stuff. Josh mixed some string arrangements into. There's like really heavy organ, Hammond B3 organ throughout the whole thing. So it's got like a big symphony-ish sound, but also like rooted in folk and folk rock and storytelling. So yeah.
So he coined the term.
Yeah. Symphonic folk rock.
Symphonic
yes.
folk rock.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, Josh, can you just make up a genre? He's like, I'm Josh Palmer.
He's on it. Yeah.
Right? But this made me really, really happy. Inspiration and you know, bands you like.
Yeah.
Here's your list. Jack White,
Uh-huh.
Fiona Apple,
Yes.
and then coming in third, the Beatles. Now, I love living in a world where someone goes Jack White, Fiona Apple,
Yeah.
Beatles. And then Amy Winehouse and Atlantis. And then I stopped writing because I'm
Yeah,
like the
there's-
biggest
yes.
Atlantis fan, man.
Atlantis
Jagged
is
Little
great.
Pill.
Yeah, amazing.
That's still in my
amazing.
car
Totally.
CD player.
Yep.
So well done.
Thanks. Yes.
And I love that you just kind of stuck it to the Beatles.
Yeah, I mean.
Not quite
no.
Fiona Apple and Jack White,
Not
but
quite
maybe
there.
one day, guys. Keep grinding.
Yeah.
Keep grinding, Beatles.
See what else comes out.
Okay, we're gonna throw it. Speaking of keeping grinding, let's throw it back over to social media correspondent Mr. Douglas Evans. We got more activity.
We do. We got quite a bit. We got some just positive, nice comments
Thank
like,
you.
sounds super good. That keyboard rocks.
Ah, nice. Thank you.
Very nice. And then that was from Nathan, and Martina asks, when recording at Soundcastle, amazing space, did you plan instrumentation different than recording other places?
It like the upright bass and the drums are like recorded like with the room sound, I guess. My keys were sent through like a MIDI, but we just kind of like, when we would record, we were set up. So Kyle was at the one side of the room, I was looking at him, and we just would rehearse the song maybe once or twice, and if it felt good, we just tracked it, and then maybe we track each song like 2 or 3 times, and it was usually the second or third one was good to go, and then we just moved on to the next one. So it was really just like, we hung out, we would like take breaks, I don't know, go outside, chill a bit, have lunch, you know, talk about the songs, and then just roll into the next one. And Emmett came after school, he was teaching, so he ripped out, got there at like 5, and we had already worked on the songs a bit, so it was really just like, yeah, it felt really organic, it felt right, so we just kind of trusted the space. Soundcastle, I love recording there. Two Student Monsoon recorded there as well, quite a bit, and it's really nice studio. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Christian's awesome, yeah. And I like stayed overnight there, so it was like a residency too, so really like absorbed the whole energy of the space in those days, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, thanks for the question.
That's so cool. There is one other question, but you sort of already answered it. Taylor asks, who is your musical inspiration? But
yeah, those ones listed. I love
well,
the
list went on and on, but
Lauryn Hill's another one that wasn't in there. She's like, ooh, Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, and Unplugged, like love Lauryn Hill as well. Yeah.
cool.
specific to this album though. What?
I'd say like how she started playing a lot on the guitar and showing that inspired me to just be like, I don't need to, like, I'm like classically trained on the keys, so I feel like I need to rely on that, but just like the idea that why can't I pick up a guitar and learn 4 chords and write just a bunch of songs to those 4 or 5 chords, and yeah, so that kind of shows up in there.
So if there's someone sitting on the couch drinking a beer right now going, oh, what am I going to get if I go to that Capitol on June 20th? Who would you say it's going to sound like? If you had to compare
I'd
what
say
you're bringing on the 20th.
I'd say like some Jack White vibes for sure. Some like Lady Gaga vibes at time too. Like
Right.
Beatles, definite Beatle inspiration shows up quite a bit in there as well. So that's kind of where you'd be getting. I'm gonna perform a bit away from the keys too. I really love performing and like moving and dancing a bit. So there's some songs where the band will just take the music and I'll be able to.
If you want to just walk away and dance for a few bars, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean.
Nobody in the studio would know what to do if you
No.
stopped playing and just started dancing around the set. That would be a moment. I'm not saying do it, but I'm not saying don't do it.
Yeah.
While I've got Douglas Evans here to take a quick break from Greg Orrē before we get to the next song and last commercial break. This is the gentleman that has been here since, what, 2010?
Sounds right.
Around
Yeah.
there, one of the longest
Or 11.
lasting crew members.
Yes.
Content creator in multiple bands.
Yes.
And you've never really given you the stripped down spotlight. We did a New Year's Eve special, which technically wasn't really a stripped down episode.
But it happened, though.
Featuring Dr. Booty Quiver.
Yeah.
But this is it, season 13. We had talked about doing an episode earlier, and I said, you know what, let's end the season.
This is big. It's
So
a big deal.
in 2 weeks, we couldn't do an episode in May if people are wondering, because I had nose surgery. So we're doing 2 in June, and in 2 weeks from tonight, you are going to close season 13. What are we going to see that night? I want to make sure we get this out and don't run out of time at the end, so let's do this now.
It will be under my rap alias Jugless. It's very silly, comedic, jokey sort of stuff. I'm looking forward to you letting me do it. It'll be very fun. It'll just be silly vibes is what we're going for. Lots of fun. I'm looking for it. Thanks again.
It's also going to be a big night, though, because I plan on coming back in September for season 14. But you never know.
It's true. It
Things
could hypothetically.
So if hypothetically that is the last episode we ever do of Stripped Down Live,
we got to do it big.
we got to do it big. So we got to talk.
Absolutely.
We got to have some surprises just in case.
We got to do something. We'll do
Stay
something
tuned.
special.
2 weeks from now. Thanks, Douglas Evans. Okay. Next song before the final commercial break.
Yeah.
What do we
This
have?
song, it's called Old Hometown.
Okay.
So this one's about my old hometown where I grew up until I was like a teenager, Leroy, really small town. So I wrote it.
Leroy.
Yeah, Leroy, Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Where?
Yeah, Leroy, Saskatchewan.
Never heard of it.
It's like a half hour from Humboldt, close to like Lanigan, Watson, kind of in that
Okay.
area. But returned there when I was like 19 for my cousin's grad, and I was driving around town just like reflecting on what seemed so similar to my childhood, and then the parts that were different, like the church was knocked down where I used to be the church organist as a kid, and like the elevator was gone, but like the lilac bushes were there, but my grandma's old garden and raspberry bushes were gone. So lots of like reflection on memory, and so that's what that song's about. And also Danica Loren, she's an opera singer. She has some opera. They have some opera vocals at the end, and I grew up competing against Anika at like Lanigan Music Festival, doing like musical theater and singing. So they were like my enemy as a kid. Like I saw them as like my
competition.
Yeah, my competition. I was so
You gotta
competitive.
step on them.
But now, now like reflecting back, it's like no, we were able to come back together and collab. So it's a cool song, Old Hometown. Really
Old
like it.
Hometown. Greg Orrē, take it away.
The old fence, it isn't as strong. The evergreens, 5 times as tall. Growing old like the memories they hold. Growing old, growing old, growing old. Grandma's garden isn't in the same spot. The raspberry bushes are gone, and Zion and the elevator, they've been leveled for a new build. Change, change. Yellow, brown, orange remain. On the old neighboring house, an old neighboring home, a reminder of youth, a remainder of youth, a reminder of youth, discovery and fun, ice forts, lollipops, bike rides, and leisure land, and leaning into lilacs, leaning into lilacs, leaning into lilacs. The old fence isn't as strong. The evergreens, they are 5 times as tall. Growing old like the memories they hold. Growing old, growing old, growing old. Growing old like the memories they hold.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Orrē.
I had a dream, I was a soldier. End of the day, helmet undone, my guns unloaded. Boots brushing by bodies, looking for a 4-leaf clover. Softly swirling, gently falling, I'm drawn where the wind is calling. I'm happiest when I'm all in. And looking back, in my dreams it's clear I had a wish to cast. And by looking back, I was moving on. Below big blue skies and lilac sunrises, I grew up on grid roads and sang in fields of gold. Now in this parking lot city, I find peace in the paradise river breeze. Are you sensing any changes? These effects of rearranging. I am light and my joy is contagious. And looking back, in my dreams it's clear I had a wish to cast. And just by looking back, wish granted I was moving on. And by looking back, in my dreams was clear I had a wish to cast. And just by looking back, wish granted I was moving on. Row, row, row your boat gently down the river. I have a choice, I choose to flow in the river of joy. Row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream, and I am in it. Lean back, let it go. You'll find you're in the most beautiful place in the world. Place in the world. When I lean back, let it go. I find I'm in the most beautiful place in the world. Place in the world. Row, row, row your boat gently down the river. I have a choice, I choose to flow in the river of joy. Row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream, and I am in it.
We are wrapping things up with Greg Orrē here on the second last episode of Stripped Down Live's 13th season. June 20th, the Capitol.
Yes.
Album release party. If you want your physical media, awesome, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you,
Awesome.
thank
Still
you.
kicking out physical media. That's the
You
place
bet.
to get it, first chance?
Yeah, first chance. The album comes out that day as well, that morning, or yeah, the Thursday, and then the show is 7:30 doors, 8:30 show, $15 advance tickets right now on Show Pass. Yeah, really
You'll
excited
sign
for it.
them.
I'll
You
sign
sell
it, yeah,
them that
whatever.
night, you'll
Yeah,
sign them. You
bet.
gotta, I mean, you gotta go and buy from
Totally,
the venue
yes.
to get the full experience.
And there's like a hidden bonus track.
Hidden bonus
which,
track?
I mean, now it's not hidden,
well,
but
that's so
only on the
amazing. That's
physical.
so-
Only on the physical.
That's
yeah.
so 90s.
Yeah.
It's all by myself.
Like Alanis, like the Alanis hidden track.
Yes,
That's what I
right.
was
Oh,
thinking.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. It makes me happy that physical media is kind of digging its way back. Releasing on vinyl too. Like that's the
Yes.
ultimate.
So cool. Yeah, really.
Final
happy
thoughts.
about
Let's
it.
wrap it up. Proud of this.
Yeah, really proud of it. Thankful for everybody who contributed to the record. Thanks for having me on here. as well. This is,
Absolutely.
like, really cool. So yeah, check it out. There's a few of the songs are already on streaming. Like the ones that I played tonight are already out under Greg Orrē on all the places. You can find that. Yeah.
June 20th, the Capitol.
June 20th at the Capitol.
Full band though, right?
Full
give
band,
It give
it's
it the
gonna
big
be
final pitch.
Yeah, full band show. Grab tickets. It's gonna be super awesome. You'll hear the new songs, how I imagine them and how they kind of sound on the record. And yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I might do some live painting during one of the songs. We'll see. It's gonna be a really cool night.
Something I didn't ask about because we ran out of time, but you're like artist in every sense of the word. So what else?
Yeah.
What else do you do on the side? What
I like
are
to
the other side
paint,
hustles?
do some painting, poetry. The back
Yes.
of this, I did like a self-portrait. So all the merch I made is like hand-painted self-portrait T-shirts, which is really cool as well. So yeah, I like to dip my toes in different things to stay creative.
Awesome. Before we wrap things up, we got to throw it back over one more time to Mr. Douglas Evans, this week's guest social media correspondent. Once again, tune in 2 weeks today for the season finale of Stripped Down Live, where this man right here is going to be performing. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
We're going to do it big. Doug,
Looking forward to it. Is there time for another question, or should we just
let's
give
do it.
All right.
The last song is only about 2 minutes, so we got time.
Nathan asks, what are your future goals and plans going forward after the album release?
Hey,
Great question, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. My future plans, I got the album release show, and then like I wanna play some more shows this fall. We'll see. Maybe too soon. Monsoon might release that record that's been sitting there for like 4 years. It's got some great stuff on it. And then I want to get into like recording the Volume 3 album, and I really hear that one to being quite experimental, working with like I think some different, like working with Josh and the same crew, but also like dipping my toes with other producers. And I here's like some punk stuff and more R&B vibes. I really want to expand my sound for that final final record, so I want to get into that. That's the next plan.
Too soon Monsoon wants to come back on the show. We'll hash it out.
Yeah,
we'll hash it out. We'll drag all the skeletons out of the closet. We'll get everyone on the
Yeah.
same page, get the band back together. I love it. I have no idea what happened, so I hope that wasn't so super awkward. But we got to say goodbye and thank you to our sponsors. We'll say bye to our sponsors for the week, too. Earl's Saskatoon is always our title sponsor. Support them. They support us. Keep it locked onto Earl's. See when their patio parties are. They're famous for their summer patio parties. They got some dates coming up. Check out their website. Vern's Pizza, about to feed the crew as soon as you play your final song here.
Yeah.
Hairstyle in, not doing much for me these days because I'm shaving it all off. Bryn has lovely hair, but she's not here tonight. But trust me, next week, 2 weeks from now, you'll see Bryn's hair. You'll be like, gotta go to Hairstyle in
Nice.
to get that look. And E-West Music. If you want to see classic episodes of the first run of the show before it was live when it was just called Stripped Down, head over to the YouTube channel Mermoose Media. I am 1 week away from uploading the final episode of our first 7 seasons. It's insane. For the last time tonight, what is this last song?
So it's called Tree Hugger. This is also on the new album. It was inspired, I heard a parent talking to their kid. Their kid was climbing on this long branch, and the parent said, "Did you ask the tree if you could climb it?" And that inspired this whole song.
Awesome. Not to be confused with Gregor, who's on Cool Mornings on 98 Cool. This is Greg Orrē. Thank you so much.
Thank you, yeah.
See you on the 20th.
I was warming up in the park when I heard somebody say to their baby, "Did you ask the tree if you could climb it, baby? Did you ask the tree if you could climb it, baby?" Well, that's a real nice thought. I thought about it, then I thought some more. I figured out that the grass under me probably thinks that I am just a little heavy, so I tried to make myself a little lighter. Tried to put myself in the sky way high with the clouds, friends with the rain. That's how I found myself again, and maybe if I ask nicely, the tree will open its arms to me and say, "I think you get me. I think you get me. Come with me. Come with me. Dream lover, tree hugger. I think you get me. I think you get me. If you ask the trees if you can climb them, do you ask trees if you can climb them? Dream lover, tree hugger, oh, I think you get me. I think you get me if you ask trees if you can climb them. Do you ask trees if you can climb them? Dream lover, tree hugger, oh, I think you get me. Well, I think you get me if you ask trees if you can climb